familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Hey there guys, Jinzo&Tonic here. I'm joined with Fred from Purple Haze. If you guys don't know who Purple Haze are, they're an amazing group of Italians that are very much into the GOAT format scene amongst all the other Yu-Gi-Oh formats that I can think of. I highly suggest that you check out their channel. It'll be down below. What we're going to be looking at today is a series that I had with them. I versed a lot of the members on their team. It was a long time ago. I can't remember who won all the games. I tried to play different decks against their different teammates. So I will be showing episode 1 and 2, and episode 3 will be on their channel, so be sure to check it out. And yeah, so let's start off the game.
Hi guys, Nick, thank you for having me. I think that was really fun to play and really fun to comment. I hope it's gonna be fun. It has been fun for us. Yeah, I hope it's gonna be fun for you. And well, Nick already said everything, so let's jump right in.
So just looking at our starting hands, well, I didn't know what my opponent's Ragnar 9898 was playing. I assumed it was going to be something very competitive. At the time when I was playing this deck, it's Stein, Reasoning Stein or Turbo Stein or whatever you want to call it. The deck was inspired by actually an Italian player that placed well in Go Community Italia competition, which is quite cool. And I thought I'd just give it a try. I was really enjoying it at the time. So that's why you're going to see a Mega Morph in my hand, which is a little bit bizarre. But that worked with Stein and Master of Oz. And yeah, let's just see how it goes. It's basically a very quick turbo OTK deck.
As you said, Ragnar was playing a straightforward Chaos Control deck. Not that much to say about it. And I can foreshadow. We saw it previously. This game was this match was really crazy.
So currently I have a Crane out, and I didn't know he had a Magician of Faith set. I assumed it would be. I was taking a bit of a gamble because I needed my back row. I was hoping he didn't have a Heavy Storm. I had a feeling he would be getting back Delinquent Duo, which you'll see in the play to come that he does end up getting the Delinquent Duo. I then had to set my Giant Grenade and Book of Moon, and then hopefully pray that he didn't activate Duo, because at this point of the game he didn't know that I was running Cyberstein, so I still had that trick up my sleeve. So yeah.
Well, I think the most important factor right there, as you said, is the wow factor of Cyberstein, since it's not that played in the meta, in the GOAT format meta. So his Delinquent Duo on Cyberstein could be, pretty revealing, since all the decks that run Cyberstein are pretty much turbo OTK. So he would have sided differently, I believe, and you could have, in that way, you couldn't have the match as easy as you would not by let him know.
So to end off with game 1, match 1, he wasn't expecting the Cyberstein. Not a lot of people are, so he didn't set for it, have any defense for it. So I was able to steal game 1. This is a great thing, however, it now puts me a bit on the back foot, as Ragnar can now side properly against such a deck like this. So he should be putting in Wabakus, threatening Roars, something along those lines. So I also need to take that into account going into game 2. But yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, that was really cool game 1. You sniped the victory really well, and I think he kept his duo just to had that advantage, just to snipe 2 cards. 1 card was not ideal in his point of view. I kind of agree. Game 2, we see he sided a Soul Exchange because you have such big monsters and nasty monsters to deal with, so Soul Exchange could be nice. His end is not that great, but yet Tsukuyomi plus 2 Cross Outs is gonna be useful to set cards and then get rid of them. I see in your hand you have draw power, you have reasoning, which is nice. I think the hands were playable, both of them. His could have been better going second, Ragnar, with this hand, but obviously in goats you don't go second. But yeah, that's what it is.
So he said one card, and I obviously wasn't sure what it was. With the reasoning, I could have hit. I was hoping for Cyberstein, and I could have hit anything. And the last thing I wanted to hit was Bioshock, because it would have done my hand no good. And I hit Bioshock, which would have returned his face down set card, which I believe it is a scapegoat. And yeah, my hand, if any other monster had come out of Bioshock, I think I would have been in a better position. I was very hopeful to have the BLS in hand, because obviously I didn't want to mill that with the reasoning. But yeah, let's have a look and see what happens.
And here we see two amazing top decks from Ragnar. Thestalos coming in clutch with the Soul Exchange, getting rid of a Premature Burial, Thestalos effect obviously, and one card, the Crane, plus the Pot of Greed. That is an amazing top that could really put him in a good spot, since you just have the BLS and United Withstand that alone does not make that much of a deal. Plus the Call of the Hunted could be nice. Yeah, I think this game is directed in Ragnar's favor, but we will see how it will end.
So when he had the 1000 Eye Restrict on the field, I was not in a good position at all. I was very fortunate to get a reasoning to get my Air Knight, which resulted also a Book of Moon that I top drew, so I could set his 1000 Eye Restrict. This resulted in me having a Dark Engrave, so my BLS in hand became live. That's obviously my main boss monster, and I was hoping to finish him off with that. However, if you look at the life points, Ragnar has 10,000, I have 6,400, so he has a full hand. I still am not in a good position. However, I do believe that I felt that I was in a fairly good position at the time. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens next.
Yeah, obviously you don't know Ragnar's hand, but Nobleman of Crossout and Tsukuyomi are an amazing recovery play, so any boss monster could be dealt pretty easily, plus Call of the Hunted, so any sort of Cyberstein plus the Master of Oz could be stopped fairly easily just by setting a body in defense, just not getting killed, plus the 10k. It's pretty helpful in this situation. You see Mind Control, it's a sidecar that you wanted to put in the main deck. I do not agree. It's too situational in my opinion against this sort of build. But you know, he wanted to use it. That's fine. You'll see how it ends.
So I was quite surprised that he had two Noblemen of Crossout. That's quite rare. And also just worked very well with Tsukuyomi. So he was able to get rid of my Crane, which was a bit frustrating. I felt that I was against the ropes at this point. I summoned my BLS. I didn't see a way of winning this. The best I could do was maybe a draw with the Ring of Destruction that I just set. And what's going to happen now is he's going to Mind Control, and looking back at the game, I felt that I should have Ring of Destruction with my BLS, but I chose not to. It kind of ended up working out, but I think looking back at it, I should have Ring of Destruction it. So to end off game 2, match 1, I got a Pot of Greed that unfortunately didn't get me what I needed. I didn't know exactly what I could have drawn to get out of that situation. Maybe another reasoning into Dark Magician of Chaos, but I just wasn't seeing the cards, and the Double Sangan and the Big Shield Gardener were just too strong. They were just a great defense. So yeah, great game 2, and then we go on to game 3. So for the start of game 3, match 1 against Ragnar, my hand, I was going first because I lost game 2, and I had a reasoning which was really good. If I had to look back at playing this, I would have set the Book of Moon and just end a turn. Some people might have set the Book of Moon and or Ring of Destruction, but looking back at it now, would have just set the Book of Moon, end of turn. And then next turn I would have been able to use the Reasoning and try and get off some combos.
Well, as you can see, Ragnar's hand was pretty good. I had the Breaker for spell and trap removal, the Heavy Storm for total spell and trap removal, plus the Cross Out for any possible set that could have put him, in a difficult spot, Magician of Faith or whatever, since you didn't draw him in the past, but you could have something like that in the main deck. The Pot of Greed is always nice. The Sorcerer is not alive, but it's good to have him in his initial hand. Just, a Thunder Dragon could make him alive really fast. And yeah, it's a pretty good hand. Going second, I don't know, the Heavy Storm, it's useful. You are pretty smart not to set your whole hand. A lot of players would have done it, but that was a smart choice, and we'll see how it ends.
So, just as suspected in Game 3, I set Scapegoat and Reckless Greed because I suspected that he would be able to, well, he had Heavy Storm, which he did. I tend to want to set cards that are chainable to avoid Heavy Storm having a plus. So I took the risk with Reckless Greed to draw 2 cards. And luckily I drew a Graceful Charity and a Jar of Greed, so that could help me out in my next play. But then I can't draw for 2 turns. However, I'm hoping that the goats will cover me for the rest of the game, or for at least 2 more turns.
Alright, we see the game going further. Obviously, the Thunder Dragon is really useful in that case, making alive the Devil Chaos Sorcerer that Ragnar has in hand, plus the power shot to tribute off the Thousand Night Restrict, in case it is too restrictive. And yeah, I think that's pretty balanced as a game state, since it has double source, but you have Snatch Steal, Graceful Charity. You have pretty good hand as well as he does. The Burial is very good as well. I think that's balanced. You can't see a clear direction in this phase, but it's gonna be interesting.
So on my turn, I used the Charity. Well, firstly I used the Jar, because it would be my first turn back where I had a draw phase after Reckless Greed. So I used the Jar along with my draw to get 2 cards. Then I used Charity to send my Dark Magician of Chaos to the grave so I could premature it to get back a spell. I used Reasoning. The last card I wanted to see was Cyberstein, and I hadn't seen it in the last game, which was very frustrating. And then I get it now, and it's basically useless because I don't have a spot to bring out a monster. If I did, it would have been GG. But yeah, let's have a look and see.
Well, funny enough, he kept on saying 2-2-2 in the past 2 games, never hitting a Cyberstein, as you said. The first time he swaps to 4, you snipe a Cyberstein. So that's funny, that's Yu-Gi-Oh, I believe.
So it was quite unfortunate that he had double Chaos Sorcerer. Thank goodness I had the Book of Moon so I could protect my D-Mark. But then his double Sorcerer became triple Sorcerer because he had a premature Burial, which was very frustrating. But at least he had to get rid of his Air Knight, so he banished it. I drew into an Air Knight. So if I'm assuming that I would be playing the Gate, getting rid of the Stein, hoping for, it doesn't really matter, but hoping for Visor Shock to send his face down card, and then I could always tribute it for an Air Knight, but we'll have a look and see what I do.
Yeah, we see. I think you just were pushing for damage, hoping to get the cross out. Unfortunately, you drew it just with Knight's effect, and you managed to get rid of your Knight. That was a big threat, since +1 for free, it's always nice. And yeah, the War Lady basically saved him from losing, since it was really low on HP. Managed to keep his Sorcerer alive, so get rid of your D-Mark, and yeah, that was a pretty good spot for him. We'll see.
Cool. So for game 3 at the end, getting the Bioshock, having his Sork in defense position, uh, basically Ragnar is stalling because he can't win the game other than making me deck out, which is a bit frustrating um, because of just his double Sork was very good. I think this game ends in a draw. I didn't want to activate my upstarts because I didn't know what was left in my deck. And I didn't want to give him the life points. I was hoping for a Ring of Destruction or anything to get rid of that Chaos Sorcerer, but I didn't think I had it in my deck. And yeah, let's have a look and see what happens. So, the game ended in a draw for the game 3. But as a viewer, you're going to probably question why he activated the Ring of Destruction on his Sork, or on his Chaos Sorcerer to draw the game. He was fearful that I might have had a Snatch Steal or something to beat him. Obviously, hindsight is a beautiful thing. My hand was useless, but he didn't want to have to lose the game by a Snatch Steal or something along those lines. So he just made sure that he didn't lose it by drawing the game.
Yeah, I definitely think he was scared. He knew your attack power. He knew that you had a deck to focus on beating up the other. And yeah, I think he went playing safe. Just new game, new cards, hoping to get back whip on the match. But we will see how it will end up.
So this is game 4, match 1. It was quite the long, intense game. My starting hand I didn't think was too great. Looking at it, I had a Sangan, Bioshock, Crane. I would have most likely, I think I went second because I lost the rock paper scissors. But if I had gone first, I would have summoned the Sangan, set the MST. But I don't know what my next draw is. Or I could have just gone really risky if I was feeling like it and just done card destruction. Not saying that's the best play, but maybe I just wanted to see what would have happened.
On the opposite side, we see Ragnar has a pretty good hand. The Big Shield Gardener plus a Snatch Steal, Metamorphosis. The two big boys, the Sorcerer and the BLS, plus the Charity. I quite like his risk of keeping the Charity, opening himself for a Delinquent Duo, but it didn't have the targets to discard off the Charity.
So I was very lucky game 4 here, getting the Cyberstein off the reasoning. He called 4 again, which is funny because like Fred mentioned earlier, he was calling 2 all the other games and then started deciding to call 4. I think he sided in the Big Shield Gardener that he has set, which is very interesting because it's not seen often, which was a bit tough to get over. If it was any other, I'm gonna say normal monster, I would have been able to do a lot more damage, but I had to use my tribute to try and get rid of it. My sign special summon.
Well, I think it was very fortunate to get a Cyber Send off of Reasoning, since it made your card destruction so alive. You didn't need the Cyberstein in hand, so you could discard it and try to get as much damage on the field as possible, plus the Bioshock to get rid of the Big Shield Gardener and basically resetting his hand. And you'd see the Jinzo plus the Snatch Steal plus the BLS, the Big Shield Gardener. They were really powerful card. And it basically puts you in so much advantage position that I think you win the game. You OTK him easily.
So to end off this amazing game that I had with Ragnar, I got very lucky with the reasoning, basically getting the Stein, but that's what the deck's meant to do. That's the whole point. You meant to get Cyberstein out. You meant to get the Master of Oz with either a United We Stand or Megamorph that you saw in game 1 that I wasn't able to play, and you meant to just hit him with a lot of damage. as I just said earlier, I was trying to get over that big shield. Luckily, I had Visor Shock. I'm glad you can see how powerful Visor Shock is. I returned his monsters back to his hand. I used the card destruction because I wanted to try and get, like I said, United We Stand or Megamorph. I got lucky because I got a Pot of Greed into a Graceful Charity, into a Megamorph, into a United We Stand, and I was able to OTK him and ended up winning the game. So this was, I think, match number 4, which was really cool. I had a lot of fun. And yeah, thanks for the duels, Ragnar. Can't wait to play again, man. And I just want to end off by saying thanks for the Purple Haze team. Once again, thanks Ragnar for these great duels. If you want to see more of these, it's a series, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. I played two more opponents on the Purple Haze team. This was the first duel. They will also be posting the second or third duel on the Purple Haze channel. You can find all their links to all their social medias and YouTube and everything below, so be sure to check it out. And with that, thanks guys, check you later.
Thank you.